Okay, so our first topic is going to be algebra. So algebra is just when we are using pretty much the letters, and the letters are just substituted in because it's something that we might not know or something that we change. So say, for example, 3x, that's like algebra expression. Okay, so we've got a few terms, definitions that we need to know so that when they ask us a question, we understand what they're talking about. So our first one here is if we have an algebraic expression. So an expression means so you can see here, this bit is an expression. See, it's an expression when it doesn't have an equal sign. So see how I just have something plus, or I could say 2y minus 5. That's also an expression. I could have also more than 2. It can be lots. That's an expression there, yeah? So an expression is just when we have the different things. So we might have some different terms like A's and B's, and it's all in a sort of a sentence, but there's no equal sign, all right? So you might want to write no equal sign so that that's probably the best way to remember what an expression is. So no equal sign, I mean that like that. Okay, so a term are all those little parts here. So when I talk about a term, here's a term, there's a term, and that's a term. So the sign that's in front of the number or the letter, that goes with the term. So see here, minus 5 is the term. 2y is the term. So so a term is a group of numbers and pronumerals. So remember pronumerals, if you need just to write on the top, that means the letters. We don't call it the letter, we call it the pronumeral in maths, okay? It just means the letter. And they're connected by a multiplication or division. So what they mean by that, this one is 2x. Technically, that would be 2 times x. So it's connected by multiplication. And then the other one there, they're giving an example of division. When you have y divided by 4, that could be written like that. And so that's what they're talking about. So that's a term. So if you look up here, this has 3 terms in it. If I said that expression, this expression had 2 terms in it. All right, now we've got our another one. We've got a constant term. Now a constant term is when it's just the number. So you can see 7 or -3. So if I had a little expression like that, the constant that's a 2y plus z plus 5. This one, because it's just a number, that's called the constant, okay? Now, the next one we're looking at here is the coefficient. Now, the coefficient is the number multiplied by the pronumeral. So remember, pronumeral means letter. So the coefficient is the number in front. So if you look in our little example here, they're saying 3 is the coefficient of y. So 3 is the number in front of y. And they're saying here -4 is the number in front of x, so it's called the coefficient. If they ask here, they're asking for the coefficient of this x squared term, you just go here. Now, if you note, it doesn't have a 1, but it normally does. So if we have a letter written like this, it can also be written as 1y, but we don't see it like that, do we? So they just write y. But you have to remember there's actually technically a 1 in front of it. So if I had x, it could really mean 1x. Now, if you write 1x when you're writing out an expression or something, that's fine. Both are correct, but you'll just see in maths they often will write it like that we don't need to put the 1. But it's not wrong if you have it there. Okay, so let's go have a look, a bit of a summary here. So we have this expression has 3 terms. So if we look at the terms, see 1, 2, 3, okay? And they're going to go through a few things. They've asked for the coefficient of x. So the number in front of x is 3. And then they're saying the coefficient of y is -2, so you can see the number. Remember coefficient. If you need to remember, just write that means number in there. And 4 is the constant. So remember the constant is the number by itself. So +4 is the constant. If it's a negative, you need to write that it's -4 is the constant, okay? So just be careful. And so we're going through things. So operations down here. The operations for addition and subtraction are written here. So remember addition means plus and subtraction means minus. So we need to remember these words. You saw them in your pre-test yesterday. You know, they were asking you to write them out. So here we're going over it a little bit more. All right. Multiplication is written without a sign. So remember now, when you see the 3y, 3 times y, you're just going to see it like that. So we know when we see 3y, it means 3 times y. And they're saying as well, if you say y divided by 4, it will be written like this. Y and over a fraction over 4, okay? So find the value of the expression. So when they say this, to find the value, in maths they might say evaluate. Evaluate just means work it out, yeah? Doesn't mean anything else but just do the question. So some kids get confused with that. So when they say evaluate, you're just finding the answer, okay? And then we're going to be asked to substitute. So who can tell me what's another word for substitute? When you're on the bench in basketball and you get subbed on, what's happening? Yeah, good. Swapped. You're getting replaced. So what that means, when you see substitute, every time you see if they say substitute, so they said if x equals 2 and y equals 3, they're saying substitute it into this expression. So all that means is every time I see an x, I'm going to put a 2. So I see how there's an x there, so we put a 2. And then every time we saw a y, we'll put a 3. So there was a y here, so we put a 3. And there was y squared there, so we put 3 squared. So that's all substitute means in. So you do that first step, you sub it in, write out the expression there, and then work it out. So you've always got your calculators, so you don't have to worry, and you can actually type that out in your calculator and use the number. That's fine. We don't need to remember, sometimes if our times tables aren't strong, so better that you get quick on your calculator. All right, so let's go do a few practice questions here. So consider the expression xy over 2 minus 4x plus 3y squared minus 2. So the first thing they're asking me, question A, is determine the number of terms. So let's have a look. We're counting the terms. Remember, they're all the separate things. So here's 1 term, 2 term, 3 term, 4 terms. So this one has 4 terms. Okay, now the next question is asking find the constant term. So B, what's the constant term? Does someone want to shout it out? Good, excellent. -2. It's the one without any letters on it, or I could say the one without a coefficient. Remember, coefficient's the word for letter. So now in this question C, they want me to find the coefficient, which remember means the letter. So what's the letter in this term here? It is? 3. Oh, sorry, the coefficient's the number, isn't it? Sorry, I'm going crazy. Number. So what's the number in front of this y squared? 3. Yep, good. Sorry, 3. And then what's the number in front of x? 4. Good. -4. Yes, excellent. Good point. -4. Remember to take the sign that's in front of it. Okay? So we don't have to write +3. If you write +3, that's fine. You don't have to, when it's positive, you don't have to put it there. So that's one of those things. Is the green a bit hard? Question. So question 2, write an algebraic expression for the following. So remember, an algebraic expression just doesn't, it's like a math sentence without an equal sign. So 3 more than x. So we might have to start thinking, so when it says 3 more than x, that means we began with x, and now how do I, in maths, put 3 more onto something? Good, plus 3. So you might start writing down things that, like, so maybe over here, we might have, here's a plus symbol, and we might write down words that it could be. So we could see that as more than. Plus means more than, yeah? That was another way to say that. All right, let's have a look at B. Now, it says 4 less than 5 times y. What does the word less mean? What do you think that will be? Symbol? Minus, good. And what about times? What do you think symbol that one will be? Times. When you do your times tables, what are you doing? Good, multiply. So sometimes it can help if you go up to here. So you know that's less, and that's 5 times y. Okay, so it's 4 less than 5 times y. So that means we started off with 5 times y. Then we had 4 less than that. So you told me less means minus, like that. Now, do I have to, is that the way we normally see 5 times y? What's another way we can write that now? Yeah, good, 5y minus 4. So that's my expression. Now remember, this is an expression, so I don't really need the equal sign there. Okay, let's do C. So here we've got the word, the sum. So does anyone know, I think I told someone yesterday, what does sum mean? Good. So we might put that over here in our little table to help us. So the sum of C and D. So C plus D is divided by, so what symbol is, when we write divide, that's this one, isn't it? Yeah? But we can also use what's another thing I can do? Instead of saying C plus D divide by 3, what's another way we could do it?
Fraction.
Yeah, good, excellent. So we remember we said we could do C plus D can be divide. You can use that fraction bar to write the thing. All right, let's do one last more, D. Now, does anyone know what the word product means? It's one of these symbols.
Times.
Yeah, good. So multiplication. So we'll pop that over here in our little table so I can remember that product means times. So I've got times here. So, and what about if we square B? What does that mean?
Times it.
By what?
Itself.
Yeah, so how can you write it in maths?
B with the little 2.
Yeah, good, B with the little 2. So we've got the product of A and the square of B. So I'm going to say B with the little 2. Now I don't have to have times in there with the letters either. So I can actually write it AB squared as well. You don't get it wrong if you write it like that, okay? I'll still give that would be still correct. You still get it right, okay? Doesn't matter if you don't take the symbols away, I would still give you that correct. All right, now we're up to substituting. Now you told me, remember there before, we said what's substituting? We called it replacing or swapping, yeah? So let's remember that, we'll write that there, or swapping. And let's have a look. So they're telling me x is 2, y is 3, and z is -5. So under each one, I'm going to substitute in. So remember, so x is 2. Now remember when it's written like that, it's like saying times, isn't it? So 2 times what? What was y? 3. Then I'm going to write plus 3 times 3. Good. Now, remember, do you guys remember BODMAS? Remember hearing that? Yeah. So that means when you do BODMAS, you've got to do brackets first. Then you do division or multiplication next. Yeah? And then you can do addition and subtraction. So that's the order you've got to go. So over here in this first one, I've got to do these the multiplications first, all right? So what's 2 times 3? 6 plus, because I can't do that one yet because there's another multiplication there. What's 3 times 3? 9. And then you've got 6 plus 9, which is 15. So that's the answer to A. Now, if you type this in your calculator like that, the calculator knows BODMAS and it does it properly. So you don't have to stress too much, yeah? If you don't remember, type it in exactly how it was written and the calculator does that for you, okay? So B, let's have a look. We're substituting in. We said Y was 3, but it's squared. So I'll put a little 2 minus 8. What was X?
2.
Oh, good, 2. Now, this means operations in terms of powers, okay? Let's just call that. So second we'll do the powers. So we don't have any brackets, so let's do the power first. What's 3 squared? It means 3 times 3. 9, good. Minus, and we can do the division next, because there's a dividing. So what's 8 divided by 2? 4. And then so we got 9 minus 4, which is 5. Good. And let's do the last one. C, we've got 2 times 2 minus 3 times negative 5. Okay? We'll do the multiplication first. So 2 times 2 is 4 minus... Now, we've actually got negative 3 by times negative 5. Does anyone know what a negative times a negative gives? Positive. So we've got 3 times 5 now, which is 15. And then we go 4 plus 15 is 19. But you can do it on your calculator. If you write it out like that on your calculator, it will remember those rules. Okay? Now, we'll have a look at it that in your calculator. Those graphics, make sure you're getting it right, and then I'll check on it for you. So we have Ye thinks of a number which we will call X. So he's thinking of a number X. Now write an expression for each of these stages. So the first thing he does, he's thinking of X, he doubles the number. If you double it, what do? Times it by what? 2. So if I have 2 times the number, but how can I write that? 2x. Numbers go first. So 2x, good. All right, now they're going to say he decreases. So what does decrease mean? Yeah, good. He lowers that by the result by 3. So what they're saying when they've got the result, you had this 2x, and then you're going to minus 3. You're decreasing whatever that is by 3. Okay, so we've done that bit. He then is going to multiply this thing, what he's got, the result, by 3. So if I want to multiply this whole thing by 3, what should I do? James? Brackets. Does everyone say? When you want to multiply a group of things, like because you want to take that whole thing, you have to pop in the brackets. So we'd put in, what you do is you go 2x minus 3, you pop it in the brackets. Now you could say times 3, but where do we normally put that 3 when we have a bracket? Does anyone else know? Pardon? Before it, at the front. Excellent. So I can hear a few people saying that. Awesome. So there's our final answer there. Okay, now it says in B, it says if X is 5, use your answer in part A3 to find the number. So we've got X equals 5, and we've got this expression. So we want to substitute in. So every time I see x, I'll put a 5. Now, remember, you've got to do brackets first. So first, we should do what's inside the brackets. So inside the brackets, what's 2 times 10? No, 5, sorry. 10. And then we've got 10 minus 3, which would be? 7. Good. So we've done that. And now what does it mean when we have this 3 and the 7 like that? It just means multiply, doesn't it? So what's 3 times 7? 21. Good. If you don't, you can pop this into your calculator and it'll do it. All right. So we